let's go back to the game and stuff. And talk about how one of the developers in Marvel Rivals said that they're not trolling Marvel Rivals data miners, but that they'd rather spend their time developing the game. But I would rather spend my time developing a healthy mind and body. And one part of that is making sure that you regularly drink water. Don't think I forgot. I never forget. Go get yourself some hydrogen bonded to some 2 hydrogen bonded to oxygen, and ingest some of it right now. Take a water shot with me. Y'all be taking shots with your friends in the club? Take a shot with me now. Matter of fact, this shit busting. It's gonna get you health tipsy. Take another shot with me. I'm a little bit schmizzed. I'm a little bit drizzed. Take another shot with me. I'm gonna have you water drunk by the end of the night. Take another shot with me. Real quick. Take one last shot with me. Alright, now that we're done taking shots of water, let's get into it. Last month, just to give y'all a little bit of context without reading this whole long ass paragraph, data miners, people who go into games codes and like find stuff, like the people who pick games apart, look through the files and try and find stuff that's hidden, that's not like accessible in the game. They've been finding a lot of stuff and leaking a lot of stuff about Marvel Rivals. There's been like jokes and rumors in the Marvel Rivals community that basically all this stuff that they're putting in the game, they're putting it there basically to fuck with people. Apparently they're not. We're gonna see though. Where's the quote though? They recently had the opportunity to ask Marvel Rivals producer, blah, 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 nigga. So firstly, we want to say that we don't recommend anybody make adjustments to the files of the games. Don't mod the games, they've been said this. Also, you can see that for each character's design, we come through a very complicated process, and we make a lot of concepts, trials, prototypes, developments, etc. He said the artist gotta, try once and then try again to make art that we like and appreciate, because a lot of people are gonna complain anyway, but we're trying to minimize how many people complain. So there could be some information left in the code, and it might mean that we have tried those directions and that they may appear or may not appear in our future plans. And whether or not they appear in our future pipeline is highly depending on what kind of gameplay experience our players would expect in their game. Okay, that makes sense. They're trying to make sure that the characters fit for the game. But I think like characters that could fit for this game is kind of subjective, because like there's certain characters that I believe would fit for this game, but that they might not add to this game because of things like redundancy. Like for example, when that whole conversation about the Red Hulk being in / entering the game was like, that's fucking funny, was being talked about, a lot of people said they probably don't want to ride Red Hulk as his own character because he would play the same as Hulk. But I was like, no, clearly you niggas don't read the comic books, because Red Hulk and Hulk have very different abilities. Like one of the main differences could be, let's say Red Hulk is, instead of like a purely dive tank, let's say Red Hulk is more of like a soft dive tank, but he has more mobility than the Hulk. And instead of having bubbles, he has like mobility options, and like he could have a mechanic where he starts off doing minimal damage, and as he gets his heat up, he does more damage. Or he could have a mechanic where instead of like hitting you and it just does, let's say Hulk's main punch does 50 damage, instead his does 20 damage, but over time it does fire damage that's 30, and it can stack. So if you hit him 3 times, the fire damage goes from 30 to 40, 50, 60, and it gets to the point to where if you go over there and you blitz them, the fire damage could numb their health down quick on top of you punching them over and over. I'm just saying there's a lot of opportunities and potential, but the idea of having 2 Hulk-like characters that some people could seem redundant, so I could understand why they wouldn't want to add them, but if they did, it could make sense. I feel like there's a lot of characters in Marvel and the MCU in general that could make sense. That being said, let's go ahead and add a reality warper into this game. Oh, y'all don't know what I'm talking about? Let's go ahead and add Deadpool into this game. And let's go ahead and give Deadpool a move. I was locked in. I thought something was about to fall. Let's give Deadpool a move where he comes onto the map, right? But when he comes on, he's not wearing his typical Deadpool suit except for the little headpiece. So he walks on the map, right? He pulls back his robe because he's not wearing a costume. He's just wearing a robe. He pulls back the robe. He reaches into her underwear. And his underwear, because this game gotta say T, has a black bar over it, but he pulls out a comically large beef and it just starts smacking the ops down with it. Just bow, bow, bow. Cause come on, let's be real. When it come time for them animations, you know he gonna be on them. So just help the animators save a little bit of time on their work and model the beef yourselves so that when he's beating down the thooties with the beef, like he's just bow, bow, bow. That when they make them hentai animations and he's over there bow, 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 beating the cheeks, they can spend more time animating the gyration properly instead of it just being that straight lock hip stiff robot ass hip, and they can work on the gyration a little bit, get a niggas a little bit of flex and they shit. Get a nigga a little bit of stomach roll. Instead of trying to make sure you animate the way that the balls bounce around realistically, you can focus more of that time on making sure that the booty goes and shakes back and forth every time it gets clapped against better. That being said, let's go back to this article, man. I pushed a little, asking them point blank if they were deliberately trolling people. Ko replied, or Ku, no, we would rather spend time developing an actual game. Basically, he said, you asked me some dumb shit. We working on a game. And then that's a bunch of yap, but I just wanted to say, like, bruh, it would be an even funnier troll if in 5 years we found out this nigga was lying to fuck with people and they actually were trolling people. Go ahead, come on now, do it. Hey, one troll I know y'all better not pull. I don't give a fuck how you make her moveset. I will main her. I will main her. Anyway, okay, cool. Y'all know what motherfucking time it is. It's time. It's time for the Overwatch beat up session. I'm taking joy in these. I love stomping on Overwatch. Until we get that story mode for Overwatch, I'm stomping. I'm stomping. Stomp, stomp. This shit finna be cute. Stomp, stomping on Overwatch. Overwatch 2's director admits Blizzard is feeling pressure from Marvel rivals. You're just feeling pressure? Well, yeah, they are feeling pressure. They're feeling pressure get alleviated in their pockets. As before, they used to like drag their feet, try to walk around with all the excess money they made in loot boxes. Now, all that pressure of gravity keeping them on the ground is no longer there because their pockets are empty. Them niggas floating. Like they just, like KSI and that meme, they just walking around like this, T-posing, floating around in the sky. Just. They want to go to the store, they ain't gonna hop in the car. Like they home, talking to their wife, like, we need some bread for the store. All right, I got it. And they just float on over to the store because ain't no money in their pockets, putting pressure on their body and pushing them against the gravitational force of the earth because they going broke because Marvel Rivals dropped and their already dwindling fan base has dwindled harder. And I gotta say, I don't give a fuck. I'm happy that it's happening, actually. Overwatch's 2 devs are watching Marvel Rivals closely. Yeah, they're trying to see what they can steal without getting caught. Because Marvel Rivals can steal from them, but not the other way around. Because people not only have a hate boner for Overwatch, like me, people have a hate boner for Overwatch, 1. Number 2, Marvel Rivals have Marvel characters. So people who never played Overwatch are on Marvel Rivals looking at Overwatch as the thing that gets spit on. And then even the most dedicated of people in the Overwatch community still spit and piss on Overwatch. So it's like, damn, your community is known for being toxic within the gaming community, as well as spitting on your game for legitimately valid, sensible, just easy to see reasons. And then on top of that, Marvel Rivals is the same thing but better, and you can play as Iron Man. Why the fuck would I play as Farrell when I could play as Tony Stark? You know, why would I play as Anna when I could play as BBL Widow? It's just common sense. But going back to stomping on Overwatch 2's grave. Actually, why did I say going back to, well, I was still stomping on, whatever, let's continue to stomp on their grave further. That's all I'm trying to say. The Overwatch director didn't shy away from answering, revealing that what many players knew to be the case. There is pressure on the Overwatch team, and a lot of it is internal, like always. We know Blizzard has crunching. I listened to a good portion of that book about like the history of Blizzard. We know y'all are internally pressuring the life out of your developers. We know that. We know y'all got developers sleeping under the table with a damn beanbag. We know y'all denying jobs to people who are talented, who say, at the end of the day, I just want to go home. You said you don't want to sleep here overnight? You said you don't want all of your meals to be ramen? I know he's talented. I know he has several bachelor's degrees in making games, and he's worked on making the most successful in terms of quality games of all time. But yeah, ball his resume up, and Kobe dunked that shit up in the trash can. Michael Jordan dunked that shit in the trash can. Then take it out, and Michael Jordan dunked that shit back in. That nigga is not getting hired. He said he wants to go home at the end of the day. What the fuck is wrong with him? Nigga, either you sleep in this motherfucking office or you don't work in this office. We knew that was going on. We didn't need you to confirm, bitch ass nigga. It's how we make the best possible game that we can. It hasn't been working lately. We've been feeling it for a while. We know. You know, a lot of things that we're announcing for season 15 and 16, I couldn't tell you what not one of those things are besides loot boxes. Like perks in Stadium, so Marvel Rivals mode, because one thing I always said about Overwatch is that Overwatch was hard as fuck to watch, because like certain people straight up can't watch Overwatch competitive gameplay, which is always one thing I said that like was very common, because not only is it highly stimulating to watch Overwatch competitive play with all these bright ass particle effects and stuff happening all the time, but on top of that, heroes like Genji doing all this flipping and dipping and stuff like that in a first-person view. Somebody with motion sickness, they might actually get legitimately sick watching that, so they don't want to watch it. On top of that, it's pretty hard to keep track of what's going on and what every interaction means in a competitive Overwatch match. So like there's definitely an audience for it, but it's not an audience as big as Blizzard wants it to be. As big as Blizzard needs it to be for it to be profitable. That's why the shit has been losing money and they've been defunding it over and over. There are things that have been in development for Overwatch for quite some time, but they're not going to be the story mode. I think that what's driving that is when we look at our game spelled win wrong, we feel like it's either missing something, yeah nigga, fun. It's missing the fun, or it hasn't evolved as much as it should have. Yeah, it devolved from a fun game into some shit that don't nobody want to play. We want to take the game and evolve it to be bigger than what it is now. You know how you could do that? Add a story, and to make those changes, to not just say, hey, what's the best thing for Overwatch? You should say, hey, what's the best thing for Overwatch? And the answer would be a fucking story. The whole shooter and gaming landscape is changing over time. You know what's not changing? The fact that Overwatch has no story mode, even though it should. The fact that Blizzard fired the whole lore division for Overwatch, half of why niggas like playing the game. How do we make something that appeals to those players? A story mode that you promised us. That's how. We're obviously in a new competitive landscape that I think for Overwatch we've never really been in before. Yes, y'all would still be eating had you not promised a story mode that 2 and 3 years later you still never gave us. We've never really been in before. We've never had any real competition to this extent where there's another game that's so similar to the one that we've created that has story. and they never promised a story mode that we never fucking got. There's actually something kind of exciting about this for a few reasons. What them reasons are: you tired of working at Blizzard and you hope that shit collapse so you can get a job somewhere else? That's the only real reason I can see you being glad about this. It's really great to see a game kind of take a different direction with some things you've kind of looked at before. You know what direction y'all need to take? A one into a boardroom where you tell your board members we need to rehire the lore department and the cinematics team. That's the direction you need to find. You need to find the directions to that room. We also think it's forcing function to our team. No. You don't think it's forcing function to your team. It is. It's forcing the developers to crack their whip harder and say they're beating us at our own game. Literally. It's really forcing, and for a team of super passionate craftspeople, that's like music to their ears. No, it isn't. Like to them, it's like how RDC was in that skit where it was like, Lisa, 4589 17th Street Road, Janice, Jamila, Jacob, Jones, or do you want me to get Jeremy? I know about the side nigga too. We keep tabs on you. Jones or Jeremy? Okay then. So while Blizzard is more than aware of Marvel Rivals knocking out their door as their biggest competitor ever, literally, they're also not afraid to rise to the challenge or take some influence where it applies. No, they're not. If they were ready to rise to the challenge wouldn't have really been in consideration before. Because like this game, if Overwatch gave us what we wanted, right? And this game came out, this game would not have 10 million people online. It would have 5. Overwatch's numbers would be affected and it would dip, but it wouldn't be 50% of the player base getting the fuck off the game. It'd be more like something like 10, 15%. A little bit of people saying, hey, I'm gonna play both, but I'm playing this one more. It would have been a negligible difference is what I'm trying to say. 50% of the people playing your game got the fuck off. That's not negligible, bro. That's very far from negligible. I don't want to read too much in this one. I just wanted to say, if you get a Nintendo Switch 2 that you're gonna rock out with until 2032, don't worry, Marvel Rivals will be playable on it at a full 7.5 frames. You gonna boot up Marvel Rivals on the Nintendo Switch and your shit gonna morph into a pile of slag like Clayface and get up and walk out and look at you and just give you the evil eyes and walks out the door and curses you the fuck out. I'll have to change my music back. We're talking about a good game now. It's gonna look at you with a side eye and curse you the fuck out as it turns into a pile of slag and walks the fuck off like a transformer. Don't worry, guys. They're open to porting it and locking the frame rate to sub 30. Frame rate on this shit gonna be 5. This one, another one where I kind of wanted to glance over the title. Despite one of the MCU's lowest Rotten Tomato scores, Captain America: Brave New World has a massive opening weekend. Oh wait, there was something else Marvel Rivals related I wanted to watch. I saved it in my notes. There we go. I seen like 5 seconds of this TikTok before I booted up stream and said, oh yeah, we're throwing it in the notes. Alleged nerfs. Again, like I always say, treat what I'm saying and what's in this TikTok with a grain of salt, and we're talking about it for giggles and shits. We are talking about it for giggles and shits. I'm gonna let the TikTok play and then we're gonna TikTok about it, alright?
Coming in the mid-season update of Marvel Rivals. So on February 21st, Cloak and Dagger is getting nerfed. First of all, her ultimate cost has been increased from 3,400 to 4,000.
Well, I'm gonna watch all the nerfs and see if it makes sense. Cause like at first, when they announced Squirrel Girl's ult was getting a health nerf, and they were taking it down from 600 health to like 200, 300, whatever it is. No, 300 health. At first I was like, oh man, that shit is gonna suck. But now that like I've played as like healers and shit like that more, and that move has actually killed me before, it's like, okay, if this move has 600 health, it would be fucking stupid. I would like it still, don't get me wrong, but it would be fucking stupid.
This is an increase of 17%, so it will take longer to get your ultimate. Also, the healing effect of the dash lanes no longer stacks.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know why they would change that. Like, I genuinely don't see why they would change that. Like, at a higher competitive level, it might be like slightly annoying to make it so that characters can literally only die to being one shot, but like that was kind of the case either way, because when she does those dashes, even when she doesn't stack, you could still barely kill people standing on those. Like, you deadass have to one shot people or hit them with like an Iron Man move that DPS is so fast is basically a one shot, which a lot of people don't realize that Iron Man move isn't one hit, it's like 5
per second. The pause between each dash has been reduced from 1 second to 0.67 seconds, so it will be hard.
I don't know why. Like, the dash wasn't the problem, bro. The dash wasn't the problem. It's the fact that she gets that shit every 9.5 seconds. Every 9 seconds, it's us. Oh.
For a Magneto to hit you during your ultimate, and also the duration of each lane has been reduced from 10 seconds to 8 seconds.
I don't like that.
As long. She did get one buff though for her Terror Cape. The vulnerability that it applies to enemies has been increased from 20%.
What the fuck does that even mean?
So you'll do 8% more damage.
Like what does vulnerable mean? Like, whenever you hit them with Terror Cape, like they start shaking at the knees and they start saying, "Oh God, I gotta tell you all my inner secrets." Like, what do you mean by vulnerable? You get niggas to tell you if they ate your lunch or not with this fucking move? What type of weird shit is you on?
8% more damage to these enemies. Let me know what you think of the cloak and dagger changes in the mid-season update, and follow for more.
I don't think those. Let me see if he has more about alleged nerfs and buffs. Okay, there's more. Okay, Invisible Woman, no. Cloak and dagger. Let's see what the change from Mr. Fantastic are. Hopefully they don't buff his ability to fucking, what is it called, to go into big boy mode, because that shit is already annoying and useless at the same time. So let's see.
New Mr. Fantastic changes in the mid-season update of Marvel Rivals. First of all, his flexible elongation ability has an increased spell field radius from 2.5 to 5 meters, and in this radius it will knock enemies outwards after landing.
What?
So if you use this
towards
an enemy, anyone around you will get blasted outwards. They've also increased this cooldown.
That would actually make that move useful, because I'm not gonna lie, like when I played as Mr. Fantastic for the first couple of days to like try and I just seen a comment on the side that says his ult did not need a nerf. Hopefully that's fake, but like his pull move, like the only thing it really did was give you a little bit of shield, which if you're playing the character correctly, you're gonna get a fuck ton of anyway when he goes in a beefy big boy mode. So now that it pushes people away, you might be able to use that to get some environmental kills, excuse me, or you might be able to do stuff like go around and push a tank into your backline so your backline can laser him down. That move might actually have some cool uses. It might have some more text so that we can see some old foes clips.
8 seconds to 10 seconds. And they've changed how his ultimate works. It now does more damage. It's going from 50 to 70 damage.
Okay.
It takes longer to charge up. About 20% longer.
Low key, as useless as it is, I don't know if that's really like a nerf or a buff so much as a change, but we'll see when it happens, because I thought the same thing about Squirrel Girl ult, but this shit actually has a use now.
And the damage starts decaying at 3 meters to a maximum of 50 damage at 10 meters. So if the enemy in your ultimate is at the very edge, they'll only take 50 damage, but if they're right in the center, they'll take 70 damage. So you've got to be more careful at aiming your ultimate in the second half of Season 1. If you want to see more of these changes,
you have to be careful aiming it in Season 1 period, because this shit is ass. Let's read these Iron Man buffs nerfs. I feel like they're gonna nerf the fuck out of the combo he gets with Bruce Banner and Doctor Strange, because like Iron Man is not a good character, but in like higher level gameplay, I've been seeing a lot of Iron Man play, like whenever I watch tournaments and stuff like that, or see clips and stuff like that in streams, is because of that buff. Like that buff takes him from being an to a, oh yeah, pick him, type character. So I think they're gonna nerf the fuck out of that. It's not really that good though, and that's the only time he's useful, which is what those collaboration moves should do, but we'll see.
Iron Man buffs coming in the mid-season update in Marvel Rivals. Here they are. So Iron Man's Unibeam damage is being increased from 120.
Why? That move is already good as fuck. Why?
20 damage per second to 140 damage per second. And the Armor Overdrive Unibeam is being increased as well from 180 damage per second to 190. But this thing...
Why? That move is already really fucking good, and it is gonna get a buff whenever the Hulk is on the team. Why?
Already absolutely...
I hope this is fake as hell.
Now it's going to shred. However, the Gamma team-up with Iron Man and Hulk is being slightly changed. The Unibeam damage is being reduced from 220 damage per second to an unknown value, probably 210. And also, poor Hulk gets nerfed as well with this team-up. His HP gain from being...
Oh, he gains HP?
An anchor is...
I'm not gonna lie, that team-up, that benefit to him is okay, I guess. I don't know. I don't care about this part.
Changes in the new patch note. Another one is for Moon Knight. His team up with Cloak and Dagger will now heal him 25 health per second while stood inside the dome.
Nigga, why? They're trying to make that damn dome useful. It's already annoying as fuck to see a Cloak and Dagger and then see a Moon Knight, because the moon is always haunting you, but...
Players are mad at the new Iron Man.
Yeah, I'm mad at these Iron Man buffs, because what the Why? Beam already was turning full-on tanks into piles of mud, turning people into piles of slag and melted glue. Now, not only does it turn you into a pile of slag and melted glue, and like a second, it turns you into a pile of slag and melted glue in 0.8 seconds. Like, it was already a good move. Why the fuck? If everybody's broken, nobody's broken. But it's like, gang, what the fuck was the point? What the fuck was the point? Oh well. Anyway, let's go back to it. Despite one of the MC... Oh yeah, this one, I wanted to kind of gloss over and mention what I'm saying. What I said happening. Despite one of the MCU's lowest Rotten Tomato scores, Captain America Brave New World has a massive opening weekend, already making back its reported production budget. I said it when this movie came out, and I'm glad that I'm not crazy. Rarely do I like a Marvel movie, but this one I genuinely like. This one I like. I said when this came out that this, to me, isn't like one of the greatest Marvel movies ever, but it's definitely better than a lot of the early reviews I've been seeing say it is. A lot of the early reviews would have you feeling like this is some shit that you don't ever need to watch, when in reality it's just another mid-tier Marvel movie, which to me isn't like the greatest thing ever, but to the average person who watches these kinds of movies, this is right up their alley. This is exactly what they want to watch. This is exactly what they want to see. So I understand why critics were calling it ass, but I didn't understand why they were calling it as ass as they were. Like, I seen people saying this shit was like one of the worst MCU movies so far. It's more mid, more below, because now mid is like a slur for them. It's more mid, but it's like, no, this shit was actually decent. This was clean. I would say this is definitely one of the better MCU projects that released in recency. And like, even thematically, I enjoyed it. And one of the things I enjoyed that I wasn't sure about before it came out is a lot of people were complaining about the way that Red Hulk was in the movie. So for those of y'all who've seen the promotional material and think the whole movie is Red Hulk hopping and leaping around being a superhero, don't think that going in. I'm not going to give any spoilers. You can watch my other video on my other channel, which I hope I remember to link. But you can watch that. If I do forget to link it, just search QaptainSlander. It's the one where I have the kufi on and the red and blue dreads. If it's not Black History Month, it's just the red and blue dreads. But yeah, it was a decent movie. I liked it. I especially like the way they dealt with Red Hulk and the way they had him in the movie and they did his whole appearance and whatnot. He's not all throughout the movie. He's only in a small part of the movie, but the way they did it is pretty fucking cool. That being said, right now, what I'm about to do is I'm about to make a tier list. I've made it out of bronze.